I was feeling down in the dumps, but then I get news that there's actually going to be virtual film festivals, which that seems like right up my fucking alley. Although I can't imagine how depressing that would be to spend years making what is your first project and then have it be going from a theater to then someone watching it on an app on their phone. Not probably the grand entrance that they were hoping for.
Yeah, the like Netflix and streaming model, it definitely is like switching things up, whereas a lot of smaller things can get these lucrative distribution deals and reach a wider audience. Where it's sort of it's a throwback to the previous movie theater distribution system before just the big blockbusters took over everything. And now that with the coronavirus and movie theaters pretty much going away, they're all going bankrupt. Like, I think AMC got their credit rating downgraded. So I think this is permanently going to affect that, the whole just concept of going to see a movie in public in this huge audience. So it's gonna be really interesting to see how that plays out.
At this point, it's just going to be people watching stuff on their computers and then drive-in movie theaters like fucking cockroaches. People are just fucking and sucking in cars and then watching movies like The Platform, which real weird vibes. I'm not quite sure I would recommend this as a first date movie.
The next step in our society just being The Platform, but with TVs, and you get a movie per room.
Oh no! Yeah.
You have to watch one movie like all month.
This is our Adam Sandler level. Welcome to it.
Garbage in, garbage out.
Hey, all you party people, cinephiles, definitely not pedophiles. Listen, I'm still trying to come up with a name here for you folks. Welcome to another episode of Garbage In, Garbage Out. I'm one of your hosts, Kelton. Joining me today is my awesome partner, Devon. How's it going?
Sup, bitches?
Okay, that's going to be our working catchphrase, I guess, for her all the way through. But joining us here today in the recording studio, in the booth, definitely in person, less than 6 feet away from us, breaking all sorts of boundaries here. We got Grift Shop. How's it going?
Not so good with the Bernie news, but I'm just posting through it.
At this point in time of us recording, we're just hours away from just what was a real blow to what feels like a leftist coalition building, if not just the idea of potentially the next FDR being elected. But by the time this comes out, people will have had about 17,000 different memes about all of this, so we'll all have properly dissociated and coped in our own various methods. I'm feeling pretty confident about that.
Or fully opposite and just, full on riots.
Yeah, just carving Bernie's face into a wall at this point, just saying why over and over again.
The new Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, I made a meme earlier today where it was the dabbing guy meme where it's the two girls fighting and the guy doing the dab in the background, and I put Biden and Trump on the two girls fighting, and the guy in the background was Bernie supporters.
Yeah, that's right. I myself am very excited to see how PSL and the Green Party are going to be courting all of us Bernie supporters, because whoever they manage to steal away, I think, is guaranteed to get the 5% threshold, and that could be a real special thing to see. But it's a dangerous game because if they don't succeed, that just means there's a wide, massive swath of people completely blackpilled on electoralism, which we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how people vote down ballot. I mean, I know I'm writing in Matt Christman for president. I think there was some talk about starting a write-in campaign on Twitter, some memes going around. So we'll see how that develops.
Yeah, it's at this point, why not? The local races are the things that are gonna make a difference in your actual community. But then on the national scale, just have some fun. Figure it out. Decide to vote according to your heart. That's what I think we can hope out for. But before we dive in too much into, I guess, our own cathartic nature of trying to talk through it, we are talking about today The Platform, which is a movie that's available on Netflix and is an interesting film, to say the least. A brief synopsis about what's taking place in this film is that it's set in a large tower style, it was called a vertical self-management center. It's just a giant fucking skyscraper. Where there's one room per floor, and the residents are periodically switched between random floors every month, and they're fed via this magical platform that starts off with all of this amazing food at the top, and then gradually, as it goes down through the levels, it just gets worse and worse and worse. And it's all like a big, massive allegory for society TM. So it's meant to cause conflict, and the people at the top are, of course, greedy, and they leave nothing for the people at the bottom. So that's where we find ourselves kind of at the onset of it. It's a very bleak sort of reminder, and again, heavy-handed nature to let us know about what the world is like. And it really caused a massive juxtaposition when I got done watching this film on Netflix, and the immediate promo after this was for fucking Nailed It, just talking about like, oh, look at this cat cooking accident. How wild and crazy is this? Like,
we live in a vertically self-managing society.
The film did create a little bit of discourse around it. It's been compared to a horizontal Snowpiercer, essentially. It also kind of has some vibes of the Cube movie, and then the obvious notions of Waiting for Godot a little bit. It's a blunt film. It's a gross film, but it really is entertaining. Do you know of anyone in your world that's also seen this movie, or are we just kind of circle jerking ourselves off?
So I have a Twitter friend who she's actually from the Basque area in Spain, so she has seen this. And we were talking about it, and she, it's very, very well known over there. So it's a big deal that it got this like Netflix distribution and it reaching a wider audience. So it's definitely a it's significant product from that area, and it's very well known in those circles as well.
That is something that I completely just blanked on even mentioning, is that this is a foreign film. It comes from Spain. It has several Indonesian actors, and it is just shot in this minimalist style, where there's no fat left on the bone. Pardon, all the references to the movie itself, but it really shouldn't surprise any of us that this script started as a theater play, and then they couldn't make it work as a theater play for whatever reason, and so then they just turned it into a movie, which, my God, I would have no desire to watch this as a play. It just seems like it would be some of the most boring stuff in the world.
Just the cheapest cutouts of numbers in the background, like wake up in the dark.
This is some real like college theater level production type stuff. Like, where are we? Oh no! How could this happen?
I came for a degree.
Yeah.
Yeah, an accredited degree.
That's just, like round of applause. People are like, yes.
That's what we're here for. Yeah, and like part of the intensity of it was the brutal violence and gore and just the nastiness of the sort of torture scenarios going on. So that would, but in a theater scenario, that could potentially be really, really cheesy.
All I see is the little bunny from, oh God, what's the movie? Disney movie.
I know you're referencing Zootopia, but
yeah.
I mean, like,
the ketchup.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like, that's her little theater scene. She's like, blood.
No. I mean, see, we have to walk a fine line while referencing Zootopia, because although all cops are bastards, it really was kind of like the MLK of the furry movement, just bringing that shit into the mainstream. So,
God.
Problematic fave. Critical support for Zootopia.
Oh, man. That angle to that movie is always it's evergreen comedic content for me. It'll never stop being funny.
Yeah, so I know that on our last episode, what we did was that we kind of bounced around a little bit, talked about the film, but this movie has such a brutalist approach that I feel like the best way to talk about this movie is kind of just running through the plot and then just giving commentary as we go along, because the film starts in medias res, just kind of in the middle of things, and so I feel like that's a good way for us to talk about this movie, and hopefully y'all are on board, but if not, don't worry, things will change in a month. So the film starts with our main character. His name is Goring, who awakes in a concrete cell marked with the number 48, and he has a roommate, which I guess we could call Trimagasi, but I mean, I think it would be funnier if we just said tiramisu or T-Dog just the entire time. So
I think the tiramisu food reference.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. He's in prison, right? So instead of getting a teardrop tattoo, it's a tiramisu tattoo.
Hey!
If you haven't seen the movie, that is unfortunate, because that was a golden joke there. So the whole explanation for how the world works comes through Mr. Tiramisu himself, because he's our exposition machine. He's apparently been here for a while. He knows his way around. And so any questions we have, he answers, obviously. And that's something that I think we're going to be repeating in our heads and snarkily saying to our partners until the end of time. So it's a very interesting setup. It's not necessarily the most creative out there, because a lot of people have kind of woken up in a strange room wondering what's going on. But the thing that really highlights it is the fact that out of what seems like nowhere from the ceiling comes this magical floating platform that comes down. And there's a whole bunch of food that's more or less half eaten, would you say, or 3/4 eaten? What's the degree of degrade that we're looking at here?
Definitely partially to mostly eaten. It was sort of in the middle where you could hunt and peck around and find stuff to chew down, but it was also really gross at the same time.
Oh, absolutely. It was, I think a good way to describe it would be the third day of eating leftovers. That's kind of what you're looking at there in the fridge. You're like, I have just, man, I have no desire to eat this. Like, if I have to, though, I guess I will. So the rules of the place are pretty simple, that you can't hoard any food, and if you do, the cell itself will get either very hot or very cold, and it's a way to, I guess, preserve, to make sure that people aren't acting selfishly on paper, which is an interesting setup. But it also seemingly doesn't matter if you hold on to any of the glasses or silverware, just based on how people use it to commit acts of violence, as evidenced later, then also scratch at the wall. So it's a pretty interesting little setup.
Yeah, or just, if you're in one of the lower levels, to off yourself, as you might see.
Yeah, I guess it should go without saying that we initially think that there's probably about 100 levels overall to this skyscraper construct. Then we think that there's about 200, then it's 250, and then it becomes over 300 levels. And so the situation just keeps on getting worse and worse. So collectively, being on 48 is not the worst overall situation, but our guy doesn't know that yet.
Yeah, and then Tiramisu tells him that 48 is apparently a relatively good level to be on, and he's been on much worse, and he's being like, oh, thank your lucky stars you're on 48 to start off, because it's you got the relative luck on the draw on your first round in here.
Yeah, it's he is, I think, a good encapsulation of boomer energy throughout, of just real kind of pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Oh, you think you have it bad? Let me tell you how I had it bad earlier. I'm not going to tell you exactly my own moral failings of what happened specifically earlier, but yeah, pay attention to me.
Obviously.
we can't have any solidarity with anyone else in here because people are always just gonna shit downwards. You can't talk to the people above you because they're above you, and you can't talk to the people below you because they're below you. So all you have to do is just survive on your own level, however you can.
Yes, he does this thing of where he talks about how, well, what about next month when the people below you are above you? It's like, oh, and then they won't talk to us, those selfish bastards. Just so hardwired into the system, not even thinking that there's an alternative way to operate. Much like, again, boomer energy, for lack of a better word. So we also find out that every month people are reassigned to a new level, and it's more or less random about where if you're at a higher level, you can expect to kind of be at a lower level. If you're at a lower level, you could maybe expect to be at least a higher in some way level. It would really suck to be at like number 200, and then you go down to 218. You're just like, what the fuck? Oh my God. This sucks. Every resident is also allowed to bring one item in with them, so that's pretty cool. I think that they let every prisoner carry some little quirky thing to help us identify these characters that definitely weren't all part of whatever producer's prop bag they had laying around outside. Our main guy, Goring, should we say Goring or Boring, or what's a good name for this guy?
Goring. I think that was how it was pronounced. It's pretty easy to say.
All right, let's do it.
False prophet.
I'm just wannabe Jesus man. I mean, I honestly could see this guy getting cast as Don Quixote in a movie. He has the most Spanish-looking Spanish look.
And apparently that actor is normally cast in comedic roles. Like, he's a famous comedic Spanish actor. So the fact that they cast him in this super serious movie is... It's both, I think it's a chance for him to maybe show his acting chops a little bit, and also to sort of drive home the point about how this is just your sort of everyday comedic guy who's now thrust into the scenario. This person you may be familiar with from more lighthearted roles, but now he's deep in the shits here.
I am Inigo Montoya.
Oh no.
Prepare to die.
Oh no. Oh God. Yeah, no, I could also see him being in that role. I do think, though, that is an element of American ignorance that probably does play out in our favor, because American audiences, we refuse to let our comedic actors really...
Grow.
Yeah, I mean, we don't let them be in anything serious and then take them seriously.
And like when they are, they kill it. Like it's
bizarre to me that we have this inherent bias as a larger cultural audience, and so to then see this guy, I mean, I now have a hard time picturing him in anything other than dramatic roles, so it is weird to think that whatever TV show or movie he was on, I'm just picturing it being like The Big Bang Theory or something.
God damn it.
Oh God, Sheldon in the platform.
All right, see, there's your pitch right there. It's every episode they're on a different level. Waka waka waka.
Oh, no.
So our main guy, he has Don Quixote with him, and then his roomie, Mr. Tiramisu, there, he brought a Samurai Plus, which is a self-sharpening knife, which... Just rule number one, if you're letting prisoners bring a knife in with you, that's just going to be like red flag number whatever, 5,000 and something, to just let you know that maybe the setup is kind of fucked from Jump Street.
I can see wanting to read a book, educate yourself with the classics. You had a chance to finally read Don Quixote, but if they say you can bring anything in, you got to think a little strategically.
Okay, so what would you bring in? Like, what are the parameters do you think that they have? If some guy was like, I want to bring in a Tommy gun, well, they'd be like, I mean, yeah, sure, but no bullets. So do with that what you will.
Yeah, they didn't really lay out any particular parameters. They just said one item. So maybe the fact that there would be bullets in that gun would then be, oh no, that's actually two items. So you could bring in a gun without any bullets or just a bullet.
Okay, I would like one 3D printer, please. I guess at this point we need to probably talk about why these two gentlemen are in here, because Mr. Tiramisu is in here for manslaughter because he got mad at a TV commercial about this samurai knife. that self sharpens and is so cool that he threw his TV out a window and he hit a guy on a bike and killed him. But that guy was an illegal immigrant, so you can't trust them. Yeah.
Yeah, little commentary right there. And the reason he was mad at the ad was that the knife that he brought in was the one that was advertised after another knife that he bought. And then the other advertisement came on and he's like, oh shit, there's an even better knife than the one I just called into this, those TV,
oh yeah.
Sites,
the home shopping
TV
network
where you
type.
can infomercials or whatever. Yeah.
I mean, again, I think we all need to think about what these people were like on the outside of where this guy who is our guide, the wise old man, if you will, of this world, he was the gullible enough type dude to just want to buy knives off of an infomercial. Like, this guy is a fucking loser on the outside. So just for context sake, that's who we're stuck with. But our guy is doing this to try and get a diploma. He's trying to become one of them smart fellas doing all the cool stuff all the way around.
Yeah, it was that really interesting dichotomy between this guy who has total boomer mindset in that he doesn't question the hierarchical brutal system that he's in, but he's also savvy enough to bring in the self-sharpening knife to defend himself, whereas you have your young idealist who just wants to get an accredited diploma to better himself in this world, and then he brings the book in to I guess study it or get maybe he's feeling guilty about that. He's not actually going to do any work to get this diploma, so he's like, oh, I'm gonna educate myself on this classic
book. How much
book.
Are we willing to bet, by the way, that in the theater version he was a screenwriter who's trying to adapt Don Quixote into a play, and that probably was some important subplot, since all plays are like 3 hours long.
Speaking of important subplot, I mean, he went in there initially to stop smoking, and they They offered him an accredited diploma if he finished.
Oh my God, you're right. That's even worse. So he's just going away for like a fun little 6-month retreat. I mean, honestly, sounds like that guy probably killed someone earlier and was like, oh yeah, I gotta quit smoking, like so bad. You guys need to accept me right the fuck now. Even
though he's gonna need like twice as many cigarettes to recover from what he sees.
Yeah, worst rehab.
Listen, I'm not very proud of the Nixium sex cult, but the results they yield when compared to the platform, we just can't ignore it. Before we get completely lost in the weeds, because we're still kind of in the wind-up stages of all of this. We're laying the groundwork for people about what all is going to be taking place here. What happens next is one day while our two buddies are just kind of hanging out, waiting for the food to arrive, this chick comes down, and I believe her name is Miaru. Is that correct? Am I pronouncing that right? The answer is obviously no, but I think if I were to say Mimi, that sounds a little too ridiculous. So we'll just say not Marilyn Monroe rides down the platform. And then
little reference to the movie.
There's a tidbit for you fine folks out there. And then Tiramisu explains that she goes down the platform every month in search of her child. So it means that every month she's just kind of fighting her way down the platform like it's some fucking Tekken game from hell, just beating the shit out of everyone that she possibly can, trying to look for her kid.
And she only goes down after she kills her cellmate.
Yes, that is an important part here, I guess. Which, I mean, that seems a little kind of extra on her part. Yeah. Because maybe her cellmate isn't trying to fight
Stop
to
her?
Yeah, exactly. Like,
he
no,
gets
you
more
do
food. Why?
Although you gotta wonder, like, how does he find out that she kills her cellmate every time? Because this boomer guy, he's not really interacting with the other levels. He's, don't talk to people above, don't talk to the people below. So I don't, does he just assume that she killed her cellmate because he's seen her commit violence? Or
maybe he was above her and watched her kill her cellmate like the first time or whatever.
That's plausible. Yeah.
Or maybe he was above her and then he was like, hey, how's it going? Want to hang out with me? Huh? Want to drink together? Something? God, I'm so lonely. So the next thing that happens as we follow her down is she goes on to the next level, and we think, oh shit, oh god, she's about to die, because she starts to get attacked by these two people, and our main character wants to jump down and help her, but before he can really do anything, she pretty much just stabs the ever-living Christ out of these fucks.
No, yeah, she kicks their asses, and our two guys in the cell above are, you know, our naive young guy. He's like worried that she's gonna get hurt by these people, and then she just fucking kicks their ass, and they're sliced up within like a couple seconds.
It's over and done with. It's truly a sight to behold. So I am very excited to see what this actress does next and what projects, because I mean, all these people are going to be doing who knows what all across the board now.
It's also funny that he's kind of impressed that she took them down so fast instead of like horrified.
Oh, he's horror something for her, but we don't know quite. So needless to say, a weird sense of normalcy kind of comes over our two boyos. But then on the night of the change-up, gas starts to get released into the prison cell that they are in. And Goring has like a weird fucking sex dream. It's just like, now this is a foreign film that we're watching suddenly.
Yeah.
He just was in it to win it with this chick in his head, and so pretty weird. On the other hand, could you bring a fleshlight onto the platform?
I'm sure you could.
Yeah, that sounds within the acceptable realm.
It's something that you never think about probably until you're on the inside. Oh, should I bring your flashlight? No. I mean, I'm a people person. I'm sure we can make something work. We'll find out something.
I mean, Goring had no problem with it, just raw dogging his hand.
Yeah, they did have that one, like you referenced earlier, where they were getting chummy. They had that montage of him and Tiramisu hanging out and becoming friends, and in that montage, one was just like a little, like it just showed him like jacking off at night, just turning to the other side of the wall, like, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. Doesn't matter if there's another guy in the room. It's like college.
Look at me! Look at me!
I don't know what college you went to.
I didn't go to college. Thank you very much. I refused to get my diploma because I never wanted to quit smoking. So, so they go through a shift, right? And they're on their next randomly assorted room together, and they've been assigned to level 171, where there's just no fucking food at this point, all the way down there. Everything is empty, and Goring wakes up completely tied up with Tiramisu, good old T-Dog himself, explaining that he's going to cut off pieces of Goring to try and sustain them both. So he's going to find a way for them both to live. Isn't that generous of him? He's going to hurt you, but it's so that way then both of them can be okay. He's the hero in all of this. Real, again, boomer energy here.
Yeah.
I'll even let you have bites of your own body.
Yeah, that was incredibly sweaty a little bit with the metaphor. Although the line, "I'm going to save your genitals for last," really just kind of undercuts the whole idea of maybe he's actually doing this to save both of them. He's kind of just looking for the first excuse to cut into Goring the second that he can.
Yeah, he's and they use that snail metaphor of where he's like purging the snail before he can eat it, like they do with escargot. And that also happened to be Goring's favorite dish.
That's right. Yeah. What are the odds of that? The good old snail boy was going to be turned into a snail. Poetry, it rhymes. It's a wonderful thing. On the 8th day, Tiramisu cuts into Goring's leg, and as that's happening, just like the squishiest sounds come out. Like this movie, when I watched it the first time, I was watching it on my television. On the second viewing, though, I was watching it on the Monday movie night that we have in the Discord, and all of the squishing sounds were so disturbing to me. But this just was an all new level. So credit to the design team there.
Yeah, it was pretty horrifying what he was doing to him, and you only got to. I'm sure we'll get into this as the plot moves along. You only got to see him cut one slice of flesh off Goring, but that was pretty brutal and tough to watch. But really good use of atmosphere and set design and a little bit of special effects there to make it really visceral and pretty disturbing.
It also is weird that he went for the calf muscle first, because at least as far as I understand it, like the belly and stuff is kind of the stuff that you can lose first and be okay.
I mean, but there wasn't much meat on Goring,
okay.
so...
Well,
no, that's true, yeah.
Fair point, fine. Arms, something. My point is that, like, it seems like if I were to be wanting to eat someone, my first thought wasn't going to be, calf muscle. That's I'm going to call that veal. I'm going to pretend that his calf is veal.
I thought he went for his thigh, but I mean...
No, it was too low. I
thought it was like right by his groin area.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I thought it was
wrong.
like sort of lower belt, like it was like lower belly area too.
Fine. I've been outvoted. Audience, you decide. We'll throw up a poll, and I will not be vindicated. Is what's gonna happen. So
it was one of those scenes where you most likely have to watch it through some degree of like looking through your hands. So it's very acceptable if you don't actually pinpoint what exact body part he was cutting off.
If you're living with someone and then they have just an immediate go-to reaction out of the blue, if you're like, hey, what part of Goring did they cut? And they're like, yeah, no, it was immediate upper thigh. I can tell you the exact muscle. That's a red flag in and of itself. I mean, kudos to you for living with Hannibal Lecter, but get the fuck out while you can.
I don't know which exact muscle, but I remember that he was like bleeding from like his not thyroid.
Yes. We all know the thyroid exists in the thigh. That's
God damn it. But like it was his upper thigh that was bandaged later that he was like limping on.
Okay.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Again, y'all are definitely right here. I'm sorry. I will do better when it comes to eating people. So things aren't looking good for Goring, but then in a real Deus Ex Machina kind of moment, not Marilyn Monroe suddenly appears like an avenging angel and just fucking stabs the hell out of Tiramisu. He goes down. Just
cuts his throat, just slices that, yeah.
Things get like real syrupy real fast. I always love seeing like the red food coloring mixed together with the chocolate syrup, because that's just a staple of low budget cinema as opposed to the weird CGI blood that exists. And so, the actor really sold getting his throat sliced with all the hand pellets and everything else. So kudos to him for that. She then cuts Goring loose, and he just also has a fun time going after T-Dog there. Just prison rules, bitch, over and over. So then not Marilyn Monroe cuts some of Tiramisu's skin and then feeds Goring it. A lot of fetishes were satisfied, I think, with that scene. Like, let's put some romantic music in the background there.
The second part of his sex dream.
Just Lady and the Tramp style, but human tendons is what's happening. It really makes us all kind of have to wonder what exactly does human flesh taste like, and is it actually that bad? Is it chicken? Is it long pig, like it's been called? What is the what's the motif that we go with? But we don't know, because it's time to switch things up again. Whoa, yeah, that's right. Act 1 is officially over. Goring awakes onto a new level. It's level 33 with a woman named Imagiri, who is a cellmate. And the only thing she brought with her is her dog named Ramses II. So we got a system that allows people to bring in knives, one that brings in dogs. It just kind of really seems like there's not a screening process, I think, as long as there's one thing there. So my 3D printer idea is looking better and better at this point.
Yeah.
I don't know about y'all, but the big plot twist. Do y'all want to reveal that to the audience here about who is this mystery woman?
So the Imaguri woman, she's actually the administration official who interviewed him for when he was trying to get into this place to quit smoking and get his diploma. She was the woman who conducted the entrance interview, asking him questions like, "Do you have any allergies? What's your favorite food, so we can include it on the menu?" And then it's sort of revealed that she has terminal cancer, so she wanted to, and she also like didn't know the extent of what was going on in this vertical management system, so she wanted to sort of get into it and I guess like save people or to do good and to do like a final good act in the world because she knew she was going to die anyway.
How can you not know how bad things are on the inside?
Right?
And also decide, well, I have cancer. Instead of going to the Bahamas and living out my days there, I'm going to live in the platform. I'm going to die in the hole because my weird... what sort of cancer is that, by the way, that like affects your chest but makes it look like you're a burn victim with boils everywhere? I've never seen that level of cancer. Like that is cancer. Like, oh shit level cancer. Like, why are you walking around right now, cancer? Why is that a wig kind of cancer is my point.
Yeah.
Like, was chemo just never an option in your head type cancer? I think that if Mr. Tiramisu is the boomer, I would say she's kind of like the blue check lib, if you will, because she's the woke scold. I come from the outside. I have this element of privilege. And if I get put into this bad situation, then I can give you whatever recommendations that I think will actually do some good. It's not the way it actually works, weirdly enough. So some Reddit nerds did some math in their head, and they were able to figure out that based on the total number of rooms, a platform rests on each floor for 2 minutes a day. And so you kind of get 2 minutes every day to actually eat. And it's interesting to think about all the ideas of change she's trying to enact in 120 seconds. What is the equivalent of 2/3 of The Weeknd song? She is trying to enact big structural change. I feel comfortable saying that she's the Liz Warren of this world. Fuck it, why not?
Yeah, she brought big structural Ramses into the thing.
Trying to make food for everyone on the level below, hoping to lead by example, ignoring someone's material conditions. No one pays attention to her, which I think no one should, because she had the wrong attitude. But then thankfully, Goring comes up with his own idea of threatening to just shit in the food and everywhere, all over the food. And then people start listening to him, which mad respect to my guy.
Yeah, it was a very interesting sort of take on solidarity and trying to make things better, where it's literally using a threat of destroying it for everybody to say, I'm going to try to affect change and make you take your own part. So it was sort of he was doing a little bit of sort of leftist authoritarianism there. He was
not that bad an approach as it would turn out in this situation.
Do I get to bring a tank as my one?
That one guy who's just like, I will bring the manifesto. That will be more powerful than anything else. Yes, let these words flow through you. Then fucking Grift Shop comes in with the tank. Just hell yeah, bitches!
Going full tanky.
So she asks Goring, of course, to try and wield his influence to the above floors, but he says that won't work because he can't shit upwards, which is hands down best line in my opinion, at least, of this film. So I thoroughly enjoyed that. So we once again run into not Marilyn Monroe as she's riding down the platform, only this time she's real fucked up. Someone got the best of her. Goring and his new cancer lady, they decide to grab her off the platform, try and fix her up, get her in shape. Goring is acting like the narrator to cancer lady and explaining, oh, she's looking for her kid. And the lady explains how no one under the age of 16 is allowed in the facility, and actually she entered alone. So I think we were legitimately meant to think, oh, well, I guess not Marilyn Monroe is a liar, and that's not how it came off to me. I don't know how it came off to y'all.
You also forgot her one item, a ukulele. ukulele.
Oh, yeah. That was the one thing that she got. I can't accept that this blue check style philosophy of, oh, well, that can't be true, that's not allowed, is just a willful amount of ignorance.
Yeah, I don't know why anyone would believe anything she said, because she didn't know what was going on in the facility that she was conducting interviews for. She gets wrong the number of levels that there are in there. So the fact that it's like, oh yeah, people under 16, they're not allowed in. Yeah, you don't know shit, sorry.
She was probably like the receptionist, basically. That if Indeed.com existed in this world, she wouldn't have a job.
Yeah.
So he then wakes up, weirdly enough, to find Marilyn Monroe and Cancer Lady fighting, because Marilyn Monroe has eaten this woman's dog.
Not Marilyn Monroe.
I'm sorry, not Marilyn Monroe. Don't want people picturing actual Marilyn Monroe viciously eating into this poor dachshund. Just really, really going with the hot dog analogy. But there's a joke here to be made about one of the only Asian characters in this movie eating a dog, but I'm going to be above that, okay? I think we all need to just move right on past that. There's absolutely no material there that can be gleaned whatsoever. We're kind of left wondering, well, what's going to go on? Because they're eating well. What's this next level? Oh, maybe things will get better. Devon, what level do they hit up next?
Level 202, even though the lady thought there were only 200 levels.
Yeah, so she was...
So her first instinct is to just kill herself.
Yeah, again, slightly different instinct of being like, there's only one thing we can do now, kill ourselves. She has seemingly lost all faith in the system. Like she just, oh no, there's more than 200 levels, I was wrong, immediately decides to kill themselves. Which, I mean, if only blue checks would have the balls to do that, that would make the whole Twitter world be that much better a place.
Yeah, whereas the Elizabeth Warren campaign, you are losing and have no chance of winning, so what do you decide to do? Take down the other progressive campaign.
She will at least be on the short list for the nominations process as vice president, and that's really what it's all about, right? Never mind the fact that she now is one of the most disliked people in the Senate. Oh my god, recipe for failure. So there's this like weird Jesus meta narrative that takes place after this, about where he's clearly having a fever dream and he's trying to decide about what to do, because he doesn't want to eat her, but then ghost Cancer Lady is saying like, eat of my flesh, drink of my blood, be God, be the Messiah, blah blah blah. And
first Tiramisu comes back as a ghost and is like, it's okay, she did it to give you what she would want. She's like, yeah, of course I did, I could have just jumped, but I left my body for you.
Again, also the fetish points for anyone counting at home, that's clearly another one.
My blood is your ambrosia.
Yeah, literal line right there. Just Spain gets down is what I'm saying. So he fights it off as long as he can. We don't spend an awful lot of time here, weirdly enough. We kind of just do one weird montage point of where it's him eating Don Quixote as a book, just over and over again, then finally eating maggots, and then passing out, and he wakes up on level 6. So it was all worth it. He's good now, y'all.
And scratching at the walls like an insane person.
Well, he was scratching at the walls to count things.
Like, I think he was counting the seconds, the platform or whatever, and that's how people calculated the minute.
That was the old him. That was floor 202 him. He is now level 6, okay? He's in the good graces. The food looks still very good. Like, everyone's minding their manners, basically, in the first 5 levels, which just weird to think about overall. Because, I mean, if I was at, like, level 1, I would be so fucking pissed. Just being, like, one room away from freedom. Just, But I guess this is as good a point as time as any to talk about the kitchen that we cut to several times. In fact, the movie opens on the kitchen, which is this immaculate mass factory looking place. It kind of looks like a chocolate making factory.
Yeah, with all the copper.
Yeah, I got Willy Wonka vibes from it a little bit.
And when we see the food, when it's being plated and when it's being prepared, it takes on a unique characterization of just, this is what it was all meant to be for. Like, this is what it's meant to look like for everyone, but it never actually quite ends up like that. The hard cut that we get of the manager looking around and having one tiny hair in his hand as he's trying to track down which fuckhead chef had it fall into the food, and it's just like, you ruined it, it's all bad, oh, how could you? And we just got done watching this guy eat maggots. It's perfectly bleak is what it is.
Yeah, and the workers in the kitchen are clearly toiling under a tyrannical boss who's inspecting every single little aspect of their food preparation. So the sort of that was definitely another point about the sort of labor relations.
Some guys working there like, I have the worst existence of all time. Oh, man, my boss is a total dick. I just make food every day. No one ever tells me that I do good. No one's ever like, oh, that's great escargot, Greg. Way to go, Greg. Man, that's my favorite plate. Every day I leave like a special little note that says, like, if I did well, please rate me 5 stars. But when it comes back, they don't even leave the note. They probably just threw the note away. Those assholes.
Or ate it. 1. 2, next on Hell's Kitchen.
Oh, is that what you're picturing? That
yes.
This is Gordon Ramsay's.
They should have just cast Gordon Ramsay. I mean,
they absolutely should not have done that.
Why?
I mean, number one, that's where all of their budget would have gone. Okay, I mean, granted, the sets that they used for the prison cells were former Red Cross facilities. So,
but Gordon Ramsay could have made them blood. Their fake blood, the chocolate.
What?
Gordon Ramsay is like a chef dude.
Lost me there.
I'm
You
familiar
said
with
the blood, the fake blood, is made from food. So he could have made them the blood.
But it's not fake in the world, and if we're casting Gordon Ramsay, he would be himself. So you suddenly want to take this very tight little movie, you want to blow it out and have it be like not only genre bending, because of course it would have to be a reality show of some kind, but then also now it's breaking the fourth wall like Spinal Tap. Like, what sort of like weird thing is what you pitched is the equivalent of like in the 30s in early musicals when they're like, I don't know, and then they're gonna like ballroom dance for 15 minutes. Fuck, I don't know what's happening in this shit. Like, that is what you pitched me. Like,
no, you just double hire him as his blood
as his blood. Yeah, no, really. Keep on. Like, I'm almost sold on this completely.
That's what I meant. Like
that would justify the salary that you're paying him because he's manufacturing. Okay.
Are you saying in the world that
like
there would
in the movie, like if he was cast as the like manager dude,
okay,
you would pay him like his amount, right?
Uh-huh.
And then just double hire him. Like, you don't pay him anymore.
So you're suggesting
that all the blood.
He's acting and special effects at the same time.
Like, that was
what I meant.
All right, I'm glad we teased that out.
Man, just the long road to get there.
You made it a long road.
My God.
You threw me off.
The Last of Us had less plot than that tangent that you were trying to get across. Okay. All right. That's fine. That's fine. God. So, getting back on track to the movie, because the real movie, not the one that exists, not Hell World's Kitchen that you're trying to sell us on.
No, he would just have a cameo.
Hell World's Kitchen.
And then keep the blood, dude.
Okay, so Goring on level 6 meets his roommate, his roommate is my favorite character. If I'm being perfectly honest. His name is Bharat.
Oh, this guy fucking slapped. I love this guy.
I wasn't a fan of him.
I mean, it's unfortunate that you don't like what is clearly the MVP of the entire movie. But our introduction to him is the fact that he tries to climb up to the next level using his one item, which was rope. Which, I mean, like, let's not think about the real, like, dark implication of, like, oh, I'm probably serving a life sentence in here. I'm going to bring rope just because. Don't ask too many questions about what I'm going to do with this rope to myself later. But he's using it to try and climb up and try and go all the way through to level 0 because he believes that that they'll let him out. And so he tries to appeal to this couple that is above him, but they end up just asking, like, oh, well, what God do you believe in? Which, again, giant red flag. This whole movie is a bunch of red flags. Weird thing to say, I know, about dystopia, but we are where we are. Someone says, what God do you believe in? He says, oh, well, the one true God. Then the guy says, do you hear that, honey? The black man says that he believes in our God, which, again, at that point, you should really know something's going to happen to this poor guy. But he starts climbing up, and then they just shit on his face. Which, for, again, people keeping track at home, another technical fetish, I'm willing to bet. Not shot in that way, though. So he goes down, and then in the process, he also loses his rope, which not that great.
Which I don't get why he, like, asked for help when he was literally, like, maybe a hand away from getting up completely. And he's like, he stops on the rope, reaches his hand up, he's like, help me! But, like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, you yanked yourself all the way up there. You're, like, an inch away. Just go the rest of the way. Like, that's what pissed me off about the character, I think.
The fact that he needed help while he was deadlifting himself
did not
all the way
need
up.
help. That's my point.
Yeah.
And that
he didn't need help.
No, if he's right there, like,
sorry that he didn't meet your amazing fulfilling standards of upper body strength.
He was a ripped dude.
That's a lot of muscle mass to have to lift all the way up.
He definitely made a point of being like, I can climb this rope by myself, but I'm going to need you to pull me up this last little bit because I'm going to make a point about you helping me. And, like, yeah, I think...
All right, Grift, walk that middle line. I see what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm going to play both sides here a little bit.
You centrist bastard.
Oh, no, he definitely could have done it by himself, but he wanted that help, though, right? So, needless to say, he's kind of at his wit's end because he lost his rope. And Goring seizes on this because he says, let's go ahead and try and ride the platform all the way down.
He waits a couple days.
Well, yeah, I guess. He doesn't immediately pitch it, but it's it's pretty close of saying, well, let's ride the platform all the way down, and then when the platform goes back up, which it does every night, then we'll go ahead and hop on board, and we'll go all the way up to level 0. And also, while we're doing that, we can also make sure that the people on every level gets food, or they actually start after level 50. That's when they start redistributing everything. So just imagine how much it must suck to be on level 50, watching level 51 start eating. Just like, you son of a bitch.
Because they reason that the first 50 levels, they can go a day without food. They can get food the next day.
But the other levels are probably nearing their wits' end and are about to eat each other. So what ends up taking place is they go a couple levels down where they run into some of Barat's friends who are like, oh, no, you're not serious, right? You're going to let me eat? Come on, I almost died last month. And then they just quickly beat the shit out of them with poles real quick, which is dope.
Yeah, they fucking cracked
By the
skulls.
way, that bed that they took apart to get the poles, that was like the easiest thing for him to do. So what the fuck? Like, dynamics, people.
Yeah, the welding on those bed frames is just really shoddily done. But then they get to another level, couple levels down. And apparently Barat, by the way, is like the social butterfly of this prison place. Because he's just like meeting friends every which way. Because they run into fucking wheelchair MLK. They talk. He describes how they need to have a message for it. Like, what's the point in what they're doing? And so they need to make sure that at least one piece of food is preserved. So they decide and they settle on this panna cotta. One
interesting little thing about that panna cotta dish is there is also a scene in the kitchen where that dish is being the boss of the kitchen is interrogating all the workers because apparently there's a hair that has been found.
That was the hair.
And it was suspiciously in that dish. So I read some theories online that there may be more going on to the ending, but I'm sure we'll get into that later.
Yes, all the way through, because this ends in just such like a nice and neat little way. Totally not open to any interpretation or theories. So
not at all. Yeah.
Wheelchair MLK says they need a message. They decide on the panna cotta. They keep on going down. Then they find not Marilyn Monroe fighting 2 residents, and you're like, all right, yeah, come on, not Marilyn, let's kick some ass. And then they just like stab the fuck out of her, and she is definitely dead. So
they are huge. They're like 7-foot men, like bulked up.
Yeah. Hell yeah, bro! I'm gonna get so bucked up in the prison cell tonight. Oh. God. Yeah, no, these dudes are total gym rats who somehow found themselves in a prison cell, and good on them for finding each other, because they make quite a formidable pairing where we don't know what one guy brought with him, but the other one, man, that motherfucker brought a samurai sword. So there's a lot of samurai tones throughout this movie, which I think we should be pretty proud of. Needless to say, things get real syrupy, real bloody, real fast. Barat thankfully comes to the rescue of Goring, who's about to die. Goring and Barat continue to descend. We get this weird montage of like what people brought with them. One of them brings an inflatable tub. One person brings money. One person brings a violin, which since we saw violins earlier in the kitchen, I was wondering if maybe one of those people was a violinist.
They fucked up one of the dishes or playing in the kitchen and got sent there.
One of the horsehairs. That's what ended up in some of the food. Yeah. They're like, all right, that's that.
Their elbow just goes across the stream.
Oh my God!
Whacks a dish.
Yeah, you think that Gordon Ramsay's really bad as a food boss? Just, I mean, his musical taste all the way through. Just, I mean, it's even more grueling because he can't even express what exactly is wrong with that. But one guy stands out among the rest of bringing, I think, what is clearly the most useful tool when going into a prison cell, and that is a motherfucking surfboard, because you don't know when shit's about to go wrong, but if flooding starts, one bra is ready to roll with it all the way through. Yeah, I know how it would come out, how it would come in handy, but he made it work for him.
Yeah, he could just surf his way up and down that tower. He was ready to catch a wave.
So they keep on moving down. They eventually pass level 250, and that's when the platform just starts moving through levels where either people have died or the rooms are just empty because they've self-immolated or whatever. And so they're like, oh shit, how deep does this thing go? And we finally reach level 333, which at 2 minutes per level, I think we know what number that means, everyone. 2 times 333, 420. That's right. Okay. Yeah. Again, the allegory is laid on incredibly thick here. So I think it's a good point to bring up now, as we're, believe it or not, like in kind of the last leg of this, that this is where reality really needs to start getting suspended, because they get to level 333. That's when they both notice a child hiding under the bed, and it turns out that the kid is in fact not Marilyn Monroe's kid, or is the whatever. Okay, you guys get the point. That's right. Yeah,
your turn to find out.
At this point, y'all should know who these characters are. So they get off the platform and they start kind of talking to the kid, and the platform starts to move down. And Barat is stressed out about this, as he rightfully should be. But Goring's like, no, the kid is special. This is what we need. And they're kind of beat to shit at this point. Really, Barat doesn't have much juice left. Goring is just a bloody pulp of a human being. They could use a rest day, to be fair. I think good on them.
One thing you forgot is that Barat kept the panna cotta, and so Goring was like, throw it down onto the table, and he's like, no, it's the message. And
He keeps saying that over and over again. The panna cotta is the message. The panna cotta is the message.
And then they look at the kid. The kid is just like staring at the panna cotta. And he's like, give it to her. And he's like, no!
Yeah, he has developed a unhealthy fascination with this panna cotta, but he also is killed. Who knows how many dozens of people. So, all's well that ends well. The kid definitely eats the fuck out of the panna cotta. And then Goring passes out, and he has a dream that gets real weird of where Mr. Tiramisu, Mr. Teardrop himself, starts to talk about what's going on in the world and saying like, oh, what's going on with you? You're the Messiah. Oh, you're the Messiah of shit. And then Cancer Lady's like, hey, he might be the Messiah of shit, but like, I'd still fuck him, or whatever the fuck. I don't really remember what her justification for him was. And then, and just a real dick move, Goring has a dream of Barat saying that the child is the message. And he's like, all right, Barat agrees with me. And then he wakes up from his dream. Barat's dead because he got gutted, so of course. And he's like, well, in my dream, Barat said that the kid is the message. So this is what we're going to do. He then goes ahead and
hops on the platform with the girl, and they ride down to the bottom floor, like the pit of the pit, which doesn't make any sense because if people had jumped down when the table was above them, wouldn't there be a ton of bodies down there?
It's a soft cushion is ultimately what happens. The thing that I was thinking about this entire time was, well, I mean, if they were only like 30 feet from the floor, like Barat could totally have just stayed on the platform, gone to the bottom, and then gone up himself. Like, real dick move for them to just let him crawl off the floor and then die in the room there on Goring's part.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, I don't think they were thinking too clearly by that point.
Yeah, they had lost like 6 gallons of blood at that point, so whatever.
Yeah.
Goring then gets off the platform and he walks away with the ghost of Tiramisu. They both turn and they look as the girl is then transported upwards because she's the message, so she will be the one that will, I guess, some poor kitchen intern will have to explain to the boss and be like, I guess things are different than what we think. I mean, we thought all of the broken plates and the blood, and then that one day when everything was covered in shit, we thought that was normal. But now there's a kid. Where the fuck did this kid come from? This is too much for us.
That whole idea that we're gonna have some powerful symbolic message from either a kid or this untouched dish, and that's going to actually affect change. I felt that was very, very lib mindset where like we're going to do this aesthetic symbolism and it's going to affect material change in the real world. But in reality, they're just like, what the fuck? There's a kid, or what the fuck? There's this dish. Like, we're not. I mean, just like business as usual. Like, this is just a one weird occurrence. It's not gonna make everyone have some sort of realization that the entire system is fucked up, and we need to change. We need to shut down the vertical self-management system.
Let all these new murderers out into the world.
That's right. They don't do a whole lot to explain kind of like why people are in there or what all is going to be happening, but it's interesting. So this film, I think it had a lot of good parts, had a lot of obvious parts. Again, it's not subtle in any way. My favorite review of this movie came from Letterboxd, who it was just a 3-word review, and it said the Communist Manifesto. And just really, I think, put the nail on the head there without putting too much of a hat on the hat. So normally I would ask, oh, well, how did we like it, or what did we not like about it? But we've done a pretty good job, I think, of talking about it all the way through. So
yeah, we completely spoiled the whole thing for you if you haven't seen it.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. As I said, we were about to run through the entire plot. I guess I should have said spoilers. Whoopsie. So
I think that you gave him fair warning by saying the best way to talk about it was to run through every plot point item by item. So if they can't get that hint, what are you even doing listening to this?
They can just throw themselves off, figure out what's going to happen here. But before we talk about what we might want to see next in Platform 2 Electric Boogaloo, or whatever they decide the title to be, you had mentioned that there were a couple of interesting theories that you had come across. So
yeah, I did a little poking around on Reddit, just seeing what people were theorizing about, and probably the most interesting was that I mentioned that scene in the kitchen earlier where the boss was interrogating the workers about the fact that a hair had been found in this panna cotta dish, and he was comparing the hair to the workers' hairs to see, oh, did this come from you? Did you fuck it up? Or the theory was that in the kitchen they were so confused that this panna cotta dish came all the way to the top and that it was actually untouched through the 333 levels. But the only way that could actually happen was that the end was actually a hallucination. There was no girl, and the panna cotta actually got transported up. And so they did complete that message, but the message they took from it at the top was the boss man was just like, which worker of mine fucked up, instead of being like, oh, the people inside the prison have solidarity and are telling us something and we should change our ways.
That I actually really like as an ending, because that is a level of nihilism.
I do too. Yes, that theory really stuck with me above every other.
The one that I had come across was talking about how it's kind of one guy who has completely lost it, and we're watching different points in time all at once of where Goring is going in, and his original cellmate, Mr. Tiramisu, is like the future version of himself, and that then he runs into the woman. They actually end up having sex. Then she gets pregnant in the platform, the level, the building, but then the child is actually their kid. And then the kid grows up to become the psycho, not Marilyn Monroe lady, who then Goring then has sex with. It's just like this constant cycle of what continues on. And that was a little too acid house experimental film for my liking, but it definitely took the cake as a theory in my head.
What then? He turns into a black man?
Yes. I mean, we all are what we see in ourselves. And if Goring sees him, Barat in himself, we can't quite take that from him. So
it's a long, 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 long pig.
Oh, God.
Now, one thing that I do want to touch on is sequel fodder or sequel ideas, because this is a foreign film, so the odds of it being Americanized and actually getting a sequel is next to nothing. But I am thinking about this weird reality of where this film gets made for like $40 million and it becomes some ripoff of The Raid or of Dread, about where they just kind of fight their way down level by level, and it kind of loses a lot of the allegory for it. And I'm very thankful about how they kind of stuck the landing with this. Although I would enjoy seeing a sequel where we just watch that kid working in the kitchen as a child slave, and like their special ability is knowing how to make panna cotta. I think that would be.
Yeah, the American version of this, they would just have increasingly ridiculous weapons that they brought in with them. Someone would have a flamethrower, someone would have that 3D printer that's just printing out like a gun. Like someone would have like one of those, someone would have like a chainsaw. Just every single level of fucked up weapon you could have, they would, and it would get increasingly more absurd as you like went through the like plot.
I could see that, but then it is a movie that I think will be a fun little time capsule that then we can make sure that people watch, because it doesn't necessarily get dated by anything, which I think will help its shelf life. As true, the last little segment here that I wanted us to talk about, we've all seen the platform, so we now have to, I think, as viewers and as podcasters, develop a hot take on it. So the hottest take that you have, the most interesting thought that you have about it, what's your main feedback? I'm going to throw it to Devon first and foremost.
My hot take, my idea is that this is going to be our new prison system of the future. And with our American society right now, like that, it is the next step. I'm presuming. Republicans will pitch it like ICE jobs and glorify them, and then the Republican people will be head over heels that there's one place that all the bad fellas go. My pitch, it could be in Flint, Michigan, because then you don't have to fix the water pipes, and, you know, no one cares what criminals are drinking or putting in their systems.
But the water system does work in the thing, because they all have like water in their rooms they can use. So yeah, that'll be interesting to see how that would adapt to the
somehow
Flint
this
setting.
is even worse now. Great, thanks, Michigan.
I think there would also become a black market system to either pay the prison to put someone in there that you wanted, or to pay for a criminal to come out for X amount of time and commit a crime for you. And then B, a reality TV series. The reboot of the series is State Edition, and you have like a Florida, Georgia, Oklahoma, and other like deplorable areas have backroads shit shows that you get all the blood in the water bowl that we got from Tiger King.
I can see that being a reality. That's an entire fantasy world construct that you got set up for us here.
I worked long and hard on that.
Yeah. Now, my one question to this setup is, what role does Gordon Ramsay play in this?
What role?
Yeah. What system? Is he the chef guy? Is he working craft services? I mean, you clearly have this like obsession with this man. So
he's the menu guy.
Okay.
He makes the menus over like all of the states, if it does turn into the states
multiple
like edition.
states now. Okay.
Yes, like Florida gets their own prison because they're all whatevers.
What if I told you
maybe
Florida
throw some
already
alligators?
has its own prisons?
This is the next age prison system,
Okay,
Kelton.
gotcha.
Okay,
All right.
so and then he'll make the menus for each state because he'll be like, oh, like go stereotypical, go southern
Like regional
states,
foods.
go
Yeah.
fish for every.
You have like
coast.
Tex-Mex in the Southwest. You have every single city having their own type of pizza. You know.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I can
That's what
imagine
I
just the New York platform prison system versus the Chicago platform prison system. About is the deep dish platform actually that much better than the super flat New York style? Who knows? We can be left to mind here. So.
One day their platform is just one deep dish pizza.
That's a reality I think we can only hope for. So what about you, Grift? What's your hot take? What's a fun hypothesis? What's something you want to see come out of this?
I think it describes like the just way jokes work on Twitter, because like a big account at the top will make do some bit, and they'll get so much engagement out of it because of all the clout they have, and then it'll work its way down through the rungs of like follower count and clout, and like the people are just gonna be just grifting and eating off of the remains of that bit, like a big podcast will do some bit about the fact that Pete Buttigieg kills dogs, and then it'll work its way down, and everyone will just pick that bit clean until it's completely dead. So that's sort of the thing that I thought about, where the hot take for what this visual metaphor is actually describing.
I like that. This film is a metaphor for cloutpitalism. I can understand that.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Listen to Cloud Grifters.
Perfect. I think
that
for me, what I want is not building this expansive zoo type setup that you want, Devon, and I certainly don't think of the same metaphorical level as you, Griff. But in my head, the thing that I really want more than anything else with this movie is to just show it to a room full of blue checks. Because when we showed a bunch of blue checks the movie Parasite, they did not get it. They did not understand what they were watching. Parasite was too subtle for them. This movie, I think, might be enough to actually open up their third eye and then skull fuck it to try and get the point across. So that's what I'm hoping.
Yeah, you had like Chrissy Teigen watch Parasite and be like, "This is great," and not realizing she is the mom in that movie.
I do run that course though, of where the downside would be we would have to see Chrissy Teigen at Halloween dress up like not Marilyn Monroe and be like, "See, this is me," and I have John Legend as Barat for some reason.
Oh no.
Oh God.
Oh man.
That's what I think in general. This has been absolutely fun. This has also been a monster episode, so my apologies for just dragging you through all of this level by level, line by line, over and over. But it means a lot that you were willing to come aboard and talk to us here. So what have you got to plug? What's going on in your world, Grift?
So always running the Grift shop. Unfortunately, I deleted all the Bernie products today.
R.I.P.
You got to stay. R.I.P. Yeah, the $100 Clash Traders for Bernie shirt is no more. But someone did buy one of those. So I'm always having new products come out in the shop, so definitely check that out. It's, as always, it's grift.shop, and also listen to my relatively new podcast, Clout Grifters. It's very much inspired by a bunch of other shows, including yours, Kelton. Like, you gave me my first break on Dolphin Garage coming on. I caught that podcasting bug, and so we brand ourselves as For Left Twitter by Left Twitter, and we've had it described as like the premium small to mid account sized Twitter podcast. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. We just talk about what's going on in the discourse and the news and shit, and just chop it up with a fun group of people. So check out
highly recommend that for anyone and everyone listening to this. And this will also be coming out dually as a bonus episode for Psychic Dolphin Garage, and so it's weird to be doing an episode of this podcast but then also plugging this podcast. So if y'all actually like this weird garbage in, garbage out, the GIGO show, as I say on Twitter, go ahead and please throw us a subscription on iTunes. Give us a review there. Follow us on Spotify. It seems like every podcast is now going to Spotify, so I think that's where the tea leaves are going to be leading me to, is going to be trying to get all on board, get all up in Spotify's analytics. We'll figure out where to go. Of course, you can find me on Twitter at Sex Confetti. You can find the show on Twitter at GIGO Podcast, GIGO Podcast. Devon is somehow, some way, still not a part of Twitter, so she's better than all of us combined. And yeah, it's been real. It's been fun, as usual. It isn't real fun discussing movies like this, but we had fun here. Thank y'all so much. Talk to you soon. We love you. Bye.